Sidechains as an idea have existed and been floating around for quite some time now, with the basis to extend the decentralization of trust into other sectors and to other digital assets. However, while this all sounds great, it's a perfect example of good in theory but not so much in practice. Nevertheless, this hasn't stopped people from trying, with groups such as Blockstream exploring the idea and our friends over at Rootstock who are creating a sidechain which will allow Litecoin and Bitcoin to execute smart contracts, and all without changing the core software of the original currency. A sidechain in simplest terms is just a separate blockchain that is attached to the parent through the use of a two-way peg, which allows for assets to be interchangeable and moved across the chains at a fixed deterministic exchange rate. This two-way peg works by utilising simple payment verification, or SPV as it's otherwise known, to show and prove ownership of the assets on the parent chain. Using Rootstock as an example, in order to transfer assets from one chain to the other, a user on the parent first has to send their coins to a special output address where they will consequently become locked and unspendable. Once the transaction is completed, SPV then confirms it across the chains, and after waiting out a contest period, which is just a secondary method to help prevent double spending, the equivalent amount will be credited and spendable on the sidechain, and vice versa. The original Litecoin we started out with are now Rootstock Litecoin, which I can use for creating smart contracts, and, as previously mentioned, sidechains can exist for all types of digital assets, with propositions of not only smart contracts, but the ability to provide more freedom for experimentation with beta releases of core software and altcoins, as well as the taking over of traditional banking instruments such as the issuing and tracking of shares, bonds, and other assets. Sidechains, just like any other blockchain, need their own miners to help protect them from nefarious actors and attacks which people would like to leverage against the network. However, since wealth isn't actually created on the sidechain, there is far less incentive for miners to actually work on it and help protect it. Because of this, transaction fees are the basic reward that is offered to miners. However, these often equate to mere pennies. So if we wanted to create a more secure sidechain, we would seriously need to have a look at incentivizing miners in other ways. These could include things such as the sidechain raising outside funding from investors in order to pay the miners, staggering mining rewards so miners have an incentive to keep mining, as they'll be paid later on rather than at the time, or the sidechain could issue its own mining reward on top of the already existing transaction fees and essentially just become an altcoin. However, even this would have its own separate value and wouldn't necessarily solve any issue, especially if the markets deemed it to be, well, worthless. The two-way peg isn't perfect either, especially since SPV can theoretically be tricked into crediting more coins than were originally deposited. If the attacker were then to transfer those coins back onto a parent, it would take coins from another user on the sidechain to fund the imbalance, and in the process create a permanent dissonance between the two chains. In order to strengthen the security of the sidechain beyond just SPV, it would require the parent to soft fork and upgrade its core wallet software, so that both chains can then validate transfers between them. Whilst there are a few big hurdles to jump, sidechains go a significant way to helping create a connected financial digital ecosystem, and even now its uses are just predominantly speculation, so who knows what the future holds and what other innovations this technology will bring. A big thanks to Diego Zalvadar for helping me write this episode. Him and the rest of the team over at Rootstock are doing fantastic work with cryptocurrency and sidechains. We wish them all the best. I'll be sure to leave a link to their website in the top of the description so you can go check it out and learn more if you wish. And as always, be sure to subscribe and I will see you next time.